Hello, Reese from the Point Music Podcast thingy. Wow, this was a mission to do this one. So, okay, backstory. We were supposed to do this podcast. We did do this podcast last night, and some gremlins came into the machinery here, and I had no sound from my guest's end at the end of it. So we did the whole podcast, recorded everything, and when I went to go bounce it down, it just came down to just basically my voice giving questions. And yeah, and a lot of to and fro, but we managed to grab the guys from King River Rising, Jake and Ward, to come back and do this podcast properly. And it's so good. This time around, it was actually like less randomness and got some really good questions in there. So they have a new song out, Take It Easy. Great song. We talk about that. We talk about touring life and just some random shit because that's what we do on this podcast. Hope you enjoy this one. Ladies and gentlemen, people of all sorts, this is Jake and Ward from King River Rising.
Yeah,
we're rolling now. Round two.
Round two.
Freaking
Yeehaw.
two. All right, so people don't know this, but we actually did this whole podcast last night, and it was a fun one, and random shit happened, and I went to go bounce this down, and there was no volume from King River Rising's end. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jake and Ward, King River Rising. I don't know how this one's going to go. Have you got Miguel there tonight? Or you...
No. Mix has been banned. He's outside. He's in the naughty corner having a think about what he's done wrong.
Oh, that was quite...
He's rehearsing with one of his 10 bands.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what we covered last night, and we'll probably cover this all over again, right? Firstly, Take It Easy, the new single from you guys, and it is, like I said to you last night, it's an earworm. It's there's some really good hooks in it, and just loving that one drop shift into rocksteady. So let's get into how the song came about, and I'll probably have a few other questions I didn't get to last night because we kept on getting sidetracked by stupid shit. So. Now, what people don't know is that Ward, you live up in Darwin and you got to come down because King River Rising is basically based in Melbourne. So you guys are basically like basically a full country's width apart from one end to the other.
We're in a long distance relationship.
So
yeah, you could say that.
How did this?
And we make it work somehow.
Well, yeah.
Just.
There's a lot of long distance relationships that work. How did this song come about? How did you actually make it work to get to where it is now?
Yeah, I mean, good question. I can't really remember. I think I started writing it quite a while ago, and it was a bit of a kind of like an iPhone voice memo idea for a while.
Yeah. And
I slowly built on it. I liked how it was kind of a feel-good reggae track because I don't do many feel-good reggae tracks. It's all kind of minor sounding, kind of the mean A minor sort of vibe,
I know
which
that feeling.
We all know and love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I thought I'd try an A major little thing. So it was in the works for a bit. I remember showing it to Jake.
Yeah, so I've been a fan of the song. So it's been one of the ones where it got introduced to me when we were working on our second album, and it just for whatever reason I don't think we didn't record it, and I think it's probably a good thing because I think the way we were playing it just wasn't right, and it's just been on the back burner for a long time. It's been for me a song that I've been very keen for a very long time. I thought it had a lot of potential, and the response that we've had so far would show that I was right, as per usual, and that people seem to really like it.
So fucking humble.
Because I think well, that's my
Jake the Tone King.
Well, I think also the way we were going pre-COVID, we were taking ourselves very seriously, and the songs we were writing was serious and they were heavy and they were about some pretty dark themes, some of them. And then we've come out of this thing, and I think we're taking it easy. We're not putting too much stress on ourselves anymore. The expectations are different, and it's more about every time we see each other, we have fun, which if we actually had tried that from the start, maybe we might
Yeah,
have,
might have
it
been
might have been a
cruisy
good
up.
idea. But like, it's just like everyone's so happy. And I think this song really reflects that. And it's like, we have a good time, and
Yeah,
it's,
no, it's been nice. It's been a bit of a attitude change.
yeah,
And I think that that attitude change has helped in regards to living so far apart as well. I think if we were still taking it super serious, I probably wouldn't have left Melbourne or, it just took COVID for me to leave, like COVID happened and my life took a different course and I guess it was all kind of meant to be. But yeah, this is a song like this totally reflects that. And it's harder to record and arrange all that sort of stuff. And Jake's done a lot of that with these newer tracks.
Yeah.
But we've got some we work with some really talented people who work with our style of producing and recording and all that sort of stuff. So it's fallen into place pretty well. Work, but
it's definitely been interesting. But I think it's a good thing. I think the way things are now, it's pretty healthy, and and Ward's right. If he was still in Melbourne, we'd probably be fighting all the time. So it's like a nice sugar hit. You get to see him once every 6 weeks. You feel real good, and then you take him to the airport, and then you go, "Oh, that's nice."
See, what the people
all
don't realize,
in small doses, not month long.
The banter you two had last
not
night.
month long East Coast tours. Yeah.
The banter you two had last night, we were like, and then just ripping on every band member that you had, and it just hadn't been fucking fits. And I wish I had that, the audio cut.
You want to get us started now?
No,
We'll go
maybe a
through
little
everyone.
bit later.
No.
But I mean, it also helped they had Miguel in the background too, just going far out. That's not fair, because he couldn't say a damn thing.
Well, what we said about Miguel is that he's it's been amazing to see him because he joined the band pretty much while he was in year 12 still. Turned 18 and joined the band, and I don't know how well his exams went, but but he came in and he was so green, and he wasn't even really a keys player, he was a drummer, and he's just learned and grown so much as a musician, but not as a human being. So it's like almost like that the better he gets at music, the worse at being a person he is.
As long as he gets the bubble right,
it's truly
that's all that matters,
spectacular because now he's incredibly talented. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as he's skanking away.
Yeah.
All good.
It's the bubble that
But
really matters.
as a musician, oh damn. Yeah.
Doesn't matter if he's a decent
and that's yeah, and that's the cool thing about having a band, together for so long. I mean, how long we're talking to Nikki before? How long is this?
Yeah, well,
been
so
a thing?
as King River Rising, it's been 7 years now.
Oh, young pups.
Which is
There you go.
Yeah.
well, it
The
feels like a
veteran.
long time for us. Could you imagine being with him for 7 years?
Hey, what was that?
I said, can you imagine being with you for 7 years?
That's like 10 times as long as any relationship I've been in.
You guys only had Barefoot's only got a year on you guys, basically. That's why I was giving you a bit.
Oh, there you go.
crap.
Yeah. No, it's great. Like as we said last night. And you and Asher being the original members of the band, you've developed. Yeah, it's a very special relationship. I think musical relationships are very unique, and then those long ones are pretty special. But yeah, it's good. And moving forward, it's feeling nice. It's feeling fresh. We've got new members like at the single launch this Friday. We're bringing in some special guests on percussion and baritone sax and trumpet as well. And
Nice.
yeah, it's good. It's good to have a pretty solid foundation. Just by playing music for so long, and everyone's done their own thing as well. So everyone's got their own experiences and wealth of knowledge to draw from and networks and skills. So it's good. It feels nice going forward. And and how it is with music. The older you get, most of the time, the better music you make and the more comfortable you are making it. So
And
it's been
the
good.
more you
And I think
realise
this
the
song is a
industry
good little launch pad for that.
Such
Yeah.
a weird thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
You were doing actually a roll check of all the countries that you have different members from last night, which I was actually finding pretty interesting. It's pretty out there. Can you remember?
Well, we've got a lot of people from different places. For example, like the person who's done horns on these latest releases, Kelly. She's amazing at doing remote recording, and she'll just nail your parts, which I think a big part of our latest sort of string of songs that we're going to be releasing sound really good. It's just the detail that goes into these songs. So she's in Berlin. We've got Angal on percussion, who grew up in Panama. We've got Brunswick Brandon from Brunswick, so he's not really from anywhere too far, but he's just, I don't know where he's from. He's from Brunswick, but he's also could be from Mars. He's a very interesting unit. And we got Ward from Darwin. So, and then a few of the other boys, the Hutton boys, are from from Darwin as well. So we've all sort of come from far apart. I mean, well, Tom was born in the US. Did you know that?
Yeah. He's
So
got US citizenship.
So there's we're all definitely like
Handy.
a bunch of odd misfits that have sort of just come together, been magnetized to each other, and created a band, which is pretty cool.
Well, going back to the what you're saying about the minor key thing, it just made me think, like, do you guys come from any kind of heavy background, like heavy music background?
The other boys do, for sure.
Because
I mean, don't
generally
you?
attracted
I'd call
to
it
that.
heavy. Tomo.
Oh yeah,
He's played in heavy bands. The bass player. He's went through heavy stages when he was younger. I'm definitely a reggae guy.
I'm more of a blues battler.
Yeah, Jake's the blues battler.
That's definitely minus than that.
Yeah.
As in key.
Yeah,
As
so I
in
guess
key.
heavy in terms of yeah. Not some like
Hope
heavy
so.
metal, but definitely some heavy blues.
Yeah.
Definitely done some blues battling in my time.
Yeah, and Miguel, the keys player / drummer, he grew up in Darwin along with Sean.
Yep.
They're very diverse. Those bros. Sean's he loved like pop, like full like country pop.
Ooh.
He's got a pop project. He's recording in his studio. Miguel was very jazz orientated.
Yeah, Mix is pretty good. He can just fit into any musical situation.
Yeah.
He just comes in and just makes everything sound better, which it would kill me if he heard me saying that. But he really does. He comes in and he's so clever with his parts. Like, he can play anything really, like a gospel, R&B, like anything, jazz. Like, he just comes in and he just knows what to do. So he's the guy.
All right, so touring
We're
situation.
pretty blessed with diversity. Yeah.
Touring situation.
So-
Given how much you guys rib on each other, who sleeps in whose room? Because this is what would be.
Well, I avoid Jake because he snores.
There's always one.
I avoid any snorers. Does my head in. Oh, there's a couple. I think that the snorers have been phased out from this band.
Yeah, they've been
You've
slowly
become a minority.
Yeah, slowly
Thank
but
God.
surely become.
Yeah, no, there's some shocking moments on tour when I think it was like most of the band snored. Yeah, we're usually broken up into different rooms or camping or something.
Yeah. I still remember. Do you remember the time that we were camping? And I was so pissed off because Ward made us camp like 3 nights in a row, and we stayed in this, place. And I wake up and there's this horrible squeaking. I'm like, what in the world is that? It's just the worst noise you could possibly imagine. And I get up and I'm like so pissed off because it was a baby magpie. And I walked out of my tent and I saw Ward's tent was directly under its nest. And I swear I went back to sleep. I was like so happy. I had the most peaceful dream because I knew how pissed. And I saw him later that day. His eyes were red. He was so angry. He's like, see that fucking magpie. So we've done some interesting.
Yeah, we camped out in. Remember the Newcastle camp?
Oh yeah,
Buddy.
in the
Oh
dunes.
my Lord! I've never. I mean, I've been to some places with a fair few mozzies, but this place was just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
there's just some sand dunes just outside of Newcastle.
And then there was the times that we didn't actually make it home because the car
Yeah,
issues.
a couple of dodgy cars on tours. Never again. Hopefully, we're past that. We're a bit older and we can afford better stuff. But
I don't know. Have you seen what you've been rolling with?
yeah, I
That's
drive
where the
mine
rental van
underground.
comes
That's
in
right.
handy there.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's the new the new strategy.
Yeah, just don't forget that they
Yeah.
get you for tolls. I just actually had one from when Barefoot toured last year, and I only just received the notice for it. I'm just going, what the? That's not my rego number. Like I was freaking out, just going, I've paid all my
Oh man.
toll bills, and then I realized that my name was on the rental van, pardon me,
Gotcha.
application,
Yeah.
and then I put two and together and then showed what kind of vehicle it was. And went, it's the fucking van. Oh, so yeah, that.
It was just 10 times more than what it was.
Oh no, it was only like $15. Didn't bother me that much, but the band card could pay for that. But yeah, it just you just forget this sort of shit when it's not your vehicle.
Yeah, or when you're trying to get to a gig, you know, you're on a deadline, and you know you got to you played a gig in Brisbane last night, then you're up to the sunny
I'll tell you
coast
what,
the
that
next night or
van was
whatever.
fucking dodgy as shit because it came up with a warning light when we got to Gold Coast, and we were heading towards, I think, Byron at that stage, and we pulled over into a servo at Gold Coast there, and we got talking. I rang up the high place and I said, "Oh yeah, we forgot to tell you about that. Yeah, just ignore it. It's a fucking warning light." No, it's fine. It's just it's just the part we're waiting on.
Yeah, I got an engine light that comes on in my car all the time, and the
put some
mechanic
tape on
literally said, yeah, out of sight, out of mind. He just literally said, if you got nothing to worry about unless the engine's blown up, and if it's blown up, then there's nothing you can do about it. So just keep on going.
Right.
Reassuring.
So,
I tell you
thanks,
who
man.
I tell you who you need to see though, Jacob Burke.
Yeah,
He will
Burkey
set
boy,
you up
yeah.
with a nice new van, window tint with the warranty, with everything you need. Well, Brisbane's finest
I'm
car
sure Burkey would be
salesman right
loving that,
there.
mate.
We'll set you right up.
Yeah, there you go, Berkey. Well, there's your plug, mate.
Well, last time we were on tour, and he's got this shitty little Corolla that he's got, and I'm driving it, and in the drive we drove 20 minutes, and he's in the passenger seat, and I'm driving, and he's almost sold it to me for about a $10,000 profit. And I'm like, and I thought he was just having me on, and by the end of it, I'm almost like signing the forms. I'm like, shit, you're good at this, Berkey.
That's why he's a good manager, mate. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But I guess the double-edged sword with managing us is, he's got to deal with all the mechanic questions.
Yeah. Well, also,
He's told me a couple of times, Jake's just been hounding him for months and months, asking him what's wrong with his car.
the other thing is when he's selling cars, he's selling the top of the range fine automobiles, and then he's just dealing with us. Hasn't quite
Top of the
got
line.
He hasn't got quite the same product to sell.
Yeah. Makes it hard. We make it work. So trying to sell us.
You guys with your banter and that's current. I was listening to I listened to the Zane Lowe podcast. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. You know who Zane Lowe is? He's a famous
Unfortunately not.
BBC One DJ, VJ, and podcast, and that he interviews all the famous bands, and he's just really good. And he was interviewing Fall Out Boy and the relationship that Pete Wentz and Patrick Stump. So do you know who those two are? Like Pete Wentz is the bass player, Patrick Stump is the singer, and that. Anyway, it turns out that Pete is the lyricist, but he doesn't sing, and he sends the lyrics to Patrick, and Patrick is the composer. So he basically Patrick makes the music to suit whatever Pete has actually done, but Pete doesn't know how the lyrics are actually going to come out verbally. What I'm getting to is that you two, with your relationship that you have, because I'm guessing that Jake does a lot more on the music side of things, and Ward, obviously, you're the vocalist, and you do that sort of thing. Would you guys have a similar sort of relationship in that regard?
Well, I have at very rare times tried to sit down and write lyrics, and when I've done that, I've realized that they're very shit. and then it makes me realize how hard actually writing lyrics is and how much effort Ward goes into writing, because his lyrics are truly, really good. Like a lot of those songs, like Pull You Closer, for example, paints such a vivid picture when you listen to it. And it's not like all serious all the time. He also writes really good playful lyrics that he'll sing it and you'll be laughing. He's like, why are you laughing? You're laughing. I'm like, no, because that lyric is so good. It just makes me happy. So he is definitely the master of lyric writing. And like at some stages, this band's had 3 singers and, really accomplished singers. Like Sean Hutton's an amazing singer, but he always says like Ward writes the best lyrics.
Yeah.
And then I guess the rest of the stuff, is often like whoever comes up with the best idea. So Ward will often have a song, and you'll have like stock chords and you know stock melody and stuff. But then like you know I might write some horn lines, some parts, some like extra like band hooks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're finding that like, and that was sort of the way it was for a long time. He would do that, I would do my part. But now as we're getting along, like the other members are starting to have like really valid and really great inputs to the point now where I just go, hey, I don't need to always have the good idea. I can just sit back and shut up, and often they'll create something that's better than what I would have done. So, but yeah, so we're not like Fall Out Boy in the sense that other members write the lyrics. Ward almost exclusively always comes through with the lyrics, and they always, you know, I think I could probably count one time that I've suggested one thing, and that was it. But he's got the lyrics, and normally like the basic fundamentals of the song, and then oftentimes we will create the rest of the song around that. Yeah, and then there's a few instrumental songs as well that were written by me, but mainly the songs that people want to hear. Ward's put the effort into.
At least you take
it's
attention of the lyrics, because I don't know the lyrics to half the Barefoot songs.
Well, it is a bit of a stereotype for lead guitarists to not pay any attention to what the singer's doing, you know.
Well,
And in my younger self, I might. Yeah, my younger days, I might just go, you know what, I might just rip a solo over the first verse of the song.
Make it sound better.
But, you know, like, and one of the great qualities of Ward's voice, though, is he can really actually understand what he's singing, which is, it sounds strange, but often you go to live gigs and you see bands and you can't actually understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
You would think, like, hey, that's, like, probably the number one thing. You can actually understand what he's saying, but, like, everyone says, like, all the sound guys I've had say, gee, he's a good singer because I can understand what he's singing. Like, a lot of people can sing, but they can't actually understand. So it's pretty easy to take in what he's saying, when it's so clear. Yeah, and then there's times where there's some songs, like the meaning, it's taken me a while to actually understand what he's, because it's like a great song. It's like a Jimi Hendrix song where sometimes you're listening to it and you're like, what does that mean? And then you have to actually ask him. You're like, shit, man, that's deep. I did not realize that. But yeah, fantastic songwriter. All jokes aside, truly amazing songwriter. I probably haven't said it enough over our times. So I'm hoping
only in interviews.
I'm hoping this podcast makes up for years of
mate,
neglect.
With props like that, no, for sure.
But
Thank you, bro. No, I
what
appreciate
do you
that. And
like
like
about Ward?
yeah.
Like, what really sort of stirs up sort of stuff for you?
Well, I guess take it easy. It's for example, the latest song we've released. I tried with that one because my style of writing lyrics takes like a long time. Like often, I'll start with melody. It's like because I listen to a lot of rubber dub reggae sort of stuff where lyrics aren't the main focus. It's more the rhythm of the singer.
Yeah.
And that's what I listen to on a daily basis. So that's what I've tried to put into our music as much as possible. Like really caring where syllables fall on the bar, making that repetitive sort of stuff, making it more rhythmic. So that's been something I've been working on the past like year and a half, 2 years, maybe 2.5. But yeah, easy was something a bit more lighthearted.
Yeah, it's
and
definitely a more positive one.
Something that's like I try to omit like the way that reggae makes me feel, like all the sound system parties I've gone to, which I'm at my happiest, you know, in the sun, listening to reggae, hearing roots music, seeing lubbers do their thing on the deep floor, seeing people meet new people with reggae going on around them. So it's not really about much. It's just about that general kind of atmosphere and vibe and how we all kind of feel when we're involved in an atmosphere with roots and reggae and rocksteady and rubber dub stuff. Yeah.
But people might not realize that like Take It Easy is definitely like a more lighthearted song, but often people don't realize some of the other songs like the meaning behind Beyond the Blue and Pull You Closer. Like they got some deeper meanings. Like even Paradise, which were released last year. So it's like quite a heavy.
Paradise.
So Paradise, just yeah. So just for your listeners, I'll just like Paradise was. Yeah, we had some pretty rough times on tour. You know, sometimes, I mean, I remember there was one instance where we were nearly called it. There was, you know, like dodgy cars, police nearly finding the dodgy cars, no sleep. Blah 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 blah. I won't go into details. I remember,
You've given away more than
yeah. I won't give away any more than that.
Hello to our law enforcement friends out there.
But I remembered this moment. We're outside a petrol station, like 3 a.m., like 2 hours out of Melbourne. So one car had to drive back to Melbourne, then come back and pick up me. You know, I was staying with it. And it was just like, but we're on the edge.
Oh yeah, that was a close.
Remember that? And Jake was like, I don't know if I can do this, and I was the same. I don't know if I can do this, and the other boys were on the same page. It was just thing after thing after thing after thing, hours and hours getting back from like somewhere, I don't know where we were.
Mildura. So it's about 650. Because basically what happened, we had car issues, and Melbourne to Mildura, it is in Victoria, so you Queenslanders might not know this, but it is actually like a pretty hot desert. And so it was about 44 degrees, and we're broken down about an hour and a half south of Mildura. So there's no towns, there's nothing. It's 45 k's until the nearest town. It's only got probably doesn't even have a mechanic, 2,000 people, and we managed to get the car almost all the way back, and then it you know, and it took I reckon 12, 13 hours to drive what would normally take 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then we didn't quite make it all the way back. And I think at that point we were just like, there were so many things though. Like it was a build up because we were doing,
you know, like how much you're getting paid, how much work you're putting in, you know how it is. Mm-hmm. And it was, you know, and that was a point, that was a real kind of thing for me. And I wanted to write about it somehow, but, and we've had a couple of those moments here and there, not many because I think we're pretty tough. Yeah. The band's pretty tough like that. But yeah, Paradise is all about finding, you know, your own slice within that kind of the music industry where it is possible to make a living kind of, you know, but you got to do it the right way. You got to find your own little kind of niche. Yeah. So it's kind of all about doing that, living that touring life, that gigging life, all the sacrifices you make with friends and family and you know, other things going on in your life. And it's also a bit of a dig at the Pokies because the Pokies took a lot of that away from musicians.
Yep.
You know, affecting the live music so much, and it was a bit of an FU to the slot machines. So, and then Pull You Closer. That was about a love song. A woman that I met that ended up teaching me a lot more than I bargained for, which is great and really made me grow up as a human being. Mm-hmm. What was the other one?
Oh, Beyond the Blue.
Beyond the Blue. Yeah, that was. I wrote that song.
So that's the most deceptive because a lot of people go, "This is it's so up tempo." It like if you listen to the instrumentation, the horns, the guitars, everything, you go, "This is," and you didn't say you didn't speak English and you heard it, you would say this is like an up tempo, feel good song. But it's
for sure. So and that was again on tour. I think we were halfway through an East Coast tour. Just played a ripper gig in Byron. Then I got a phone call from a mate telling me of some pretty bad news up and down with a mate passing away. And as you do as a musician, you know, you learn to deal with things in different ways. Writing songs is mine. And I was writing, you know, these different ideas that were helping me through it, and this particular idea really stuck out because, I mean, as you can imagine, with the subject matter, a friend who was taken a lot long before he should have. Yep. They were very sad and melancholy, but this one stuck out because it was more kind of quicker, happier sounding, and I just thought it'd be nice to write a song that's more uplifting than kind of than sad. And they have their own beauty. I think sad songs are beautiful in their own right, but yeah, this one stuck with me, and the fellas liked it, and yeah, we just wanted to write it and play it and record it, and it's called Beyond the Blue. So hopefully it can help someone out in some way. Yeah, and we can do our bit musically.
Yeah. Well, that was like an example of how great of a songwriter Ward is, because that happened 3 weeks into a tour. It was a long tour. Maybe like six or 7 weeks. So I mean, long for us, maybe not for other people. But by the end of the tour, we were playing it, and like in between doing shows and traveling, we pulled it together and we were playing it, and it was pretty quickly like one of our best songs. Up until now, of course, because now we've got some really good, we've got some new stuff coming out.
Dun dun dun. Well, nicely done.
Yeah, that was a pretty good segue. All right, so we're going to wrap this up on a because it was getting deep and then went into a high moment. So let's do that. Congrats and take it easy. Good luck with the Leadbeater. It's the Leadbeater Hotel. Leadbeater, yeah. On Friday night. And I so look forward to you guys come back up here. And let's tee up a Barefoot King River Rising mashup thing soon enough. Hey?
Oh, 100%.
All right, you guys hang on the line so I can get this thing sorted out. To everyone else, it's been King River Rising. Adios. Did it. Got it. Nailed it. We got sound and so stoked. Thank you to Jake and Ward for coming back and doing round 2 of this podcast. I know there was a little bit of stuff around, but we managed to make it work. So big thank you to those guys. And if you're in Melbourne, on this Friday night, which would be I can't even think of what date it is. 28th, April 28th. Yep. They're playing the Leadbeater Hotel for their single launch for Take It Easy. Yeah, you should do it because these guys are amazing. Probably up there as one of my favorite reggae bands in Australia now. Just nice guys and great songwriters. So do if you're not in Melbourne, just check out the song. Anyway. That's enough rambling. Thank you for tuning in. If you have liked this podcast and previous ones, so you have not clicked that subscribe button or follow button on Spotify if you listen to the audio version, please do. It means a lot. It means that you guys are paying attention to what I'm doing. Makes me feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. There we go. More podcasts coming. Got some really cool guests coming up too. So just have to stay tuned for that one. Until then, thank you for supporting local music, live music, all sorts of music. Australian music. I got that wrong, but whatever. You guys are legends. Cheers.